Good morning. You're listening to WXOX 97.1 FM in Louisville, Kentucky, or you are streaming on artxfm.com. Either way, thank you for joining us. This is LVA's Artebella on the Radio, the show produced by Louisville Visual Art. I'm your host, Keith Waits, and I'm here today to speak to Julio Cesar. Julio was born in 1976 in Holguin, Cuba. Enthusiastic about drawing from a very early age, he studied at the Vocational School of Art Raul Gomez Garcia and the Professional Academy of Visual Arts in Holguin. Graduating in the specialties of painting, drawing, photography, and artistic weaving in 1995, Julio has also been a professor of the arts and has experience in book illustration, stage and costume design, muralism, and more. His new solo show, Perpetual Contours, opens at Revelry Gallery on August 6th with a reception that evening, 6 to 9 p.m. Buenos dias, Julio.
Hi, buenos dias. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, really good. I'm
Well,
excited for the exhibition. I'm ready for show my new art collection. So I am really excited.
okay. Well, great. I think people are excited to see you. You have had other exhibitions before in Louisville, and you've been around for a little while, and people are very familiar with your work. So I want to, but I want to talk a little bit about your history. We'll get up to a point where we are talking about the work and maybe what people will expect to see. But I want to first talk to you about. Why did you come to the United States? What was it that motivated you, and how did you wind up here in Louisville, Kentucky?
Yeah, I came from Cuba in 2007. Was September 2007. The real reason, is so simple: liberty, freedom. Cuba is a dictatorship. It's remained by more than 60 years. So the Cubans are tired, so I decide and I wish to go out to Cuba because, make happy my family, my children, also my profession. So that was the principal reason, I came from Cuba with my family.
And how did you come to be here? How are we so fortunate to have you in our community?
I lived 5 years in Florida, close to Orlando. 2012, I decided to move to Louisville, Kentucky, looking for a better, art community, art opportunities for me and for my family. So, and I found right here in the city. So I'm happy for that. Was a good decision for me to stay here, create here, show my art here for all the followers, people around the world, people of the city. So the people looking for a better art. That's it. That one was the reason we are here right now.
And I think I might know the answer just based on how long you've been here and how much activity you've had. But have you found the artistic community in Louisville to be welcoming to you?
Oh yes, absolutely. I remember when I live in Orlando, Florida. I visit Louisville for first time because one of my students showed his art in I remember the Muhammad Ali museum. So I visit the location, and I saw all the people visit the gallery, people talking about art, talking about the pieces, about painting. So I like it so much. So I go back to Orlando, talk to my wife, I say, hey, I think Louisville, Kentucky is a really good community for us. So after that, we decide to move. So it's just too easy. Just take the decision.
And I take it your family has also been happy. You have 2 children, correct?
Yes, I have 2 children, 2 boys. The older are 16 years old. The younger is 11. 2 boys.
Nice. Nice. And so everyone has had Louisville has been a good experience for everybody.
Oh yes, absolutely. Also because I have a lot of friends right here. I told people Louisville, Kentucky is the third Cuban community in the country. So it's a lot of Cubans right here. Also, people from my town, Holguin. So it's a lot of friends, siblings, people I know. Also, friends like study with me in the same art school, in my kindergarten. It's a lot of community that I know, and we feeling really, really close in the city. We love the city.
Terrific, terrific. I think it's important to give you that opportunity to talk about those things. I think the story of immigrants right now is so crucial, and such a hot topic. But like, I love hearing stories like this, and I like to know, being a native Louisvillian, I really like that our city has been that welcoming too. I'm very glad. So let's talk a little bit more about your work. Reading through your in the intro, I mentioned these other things you've done, which is quite a bit of things. The stage and costume design, but you are primarily known as a painter, and you are very active and very productive. How is it you've come to focus on painting? Why painting as opposed to any of these other disciplines that you've spent time with? Why has painting become the most important one for you?
Yeah. In my student years, I remember we take a lot of classes: painting, sculpture, graphic design, art history. Is a lot of classes that help us to grown up like artists. But I think I am struck by paintings because the smell of oil, texture, values, you know. So the way that you can work lights and shadows, so something that I love it, and it was easy to me to choose the paint because I love every time I remember, every time that I visit a gallery or for another artist art exhibitions, I look in the canvas, the texture. I love it, putting in the frame, put together, the canvas in the frame. I enjoy that. So I say, okay, I want to paint. I like a sculpture, but I really, really don't, it's not for me. I say it's not for me, but I love it. So, but I decide to paint. I decide to paint because I feel more comfort. I can, work in every technique, every pigment. So that's the way that I take for also, show my art, my ideas. It's the best way for me, I think.
Well, and an artist's relationship to the medium is so crucial, and it is the most common one of the most common things in all of my conversations with artists, is that it is rarely a calculation. It is often a very uh, organic relationship that you talk about the paint in sensual terms, that the feel of it and the smell of it and the textures. And I think that's what we're talking about, is that it's just a very organic, natural relationship that an artist
Yes.
has with the medium that they choose to work with the most often, I think.
Exactly.
But it also occurs to me, you are, and as soon as I say this, I always make this point, the words can seem so limiting. As soon as I say you're a surrealist, well, there's a lot of different ways to break down your paintings, but you do use the word surrealism, and it strikes me that surrealism, although it is not just in paintings, what we know surrealism, the most famous images of surrealism are paintings and painters. And it
Yes.
is
Yes.
that a part of why the medium appeals to you, because that it's the best way to capture that aspect of your imagery?
I think so. Yes, I think so. I remember I love uh, the books. I remember when I was a student, I visited our library, in our school library, and I check for all the books. Then I love the art history. I check, I study every single part of the history, Renaissance, Baroque, um, all the art in the 20th century. I study all the tendencies. So I think when I found the surrealism, I know Salvador Dali. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Salvador Dali, and then later I know René Magritte. For me, these two artists was essential in my to help me to understand how the artist can show everything inside out. So that was the two most important artists. Like I keep from my for later. Also, I love all the classic, all the master of paint. Because you can see, people can see my paintings because all the how I work the shadows, how I work the oil. Of course, the masters, Caravaggio, Jose Rivera, Van Dyck, Rubens, the Spain school. I love the Spain school of paint. So it's a lot of things like help me to open my eyes to the world through the paint. So I try to take out all of this inside me to put in my canvas, so people can see how I feel, how I thought about the world, the world, the things. So that is the most essential, the most important thing to me to show in my canvas.
Right. Well, and I'll ask a question, and please, if you need to have a drink of water, please go ahead. I know talking makes your throat very dry.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry about that.
No. Please have a drink of water if you need to. So yes, those are. It's also very interesting too to look at the theatricality in your background, that you had done theater design, and there's a great theatricality in your images, that dramatic lighting, and also when you talk about Magritte, I remember, and this is one of the pleasures, of having an artist like you in the community. I've been looking at your work for a while, and I remember some of the first things I saw, however many years ago, you were making. There seem to be very direct references, or let's say tributes to Magritte. There were some paintings you were doing that seemed so informed by him, but then your imagery has developed and grown to where, although I think somebody would recognize it as surrealism, it no longer seems so directly connected to famous surrealists. You've developed imagery that is really, seems to me, entirely Julio Cesar.
Yeah.
But talk to me a little bit about the theatricality. And so when you worked in theater, and you talked about painters that have influenced you, were there playwrights or designers or writers that also were part of that, and particularly looking at that time working in theater?
Okay. Yes. I teach painting and drawing for 7 years in 3 different art schools.
Mm-hmm.
One of those was I taught artistic drawing to bailarines, dancers.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned a lot about how work inside the theater, the scene. So, and I start to design, how they dress, colors, the lights, in the stage. So that, it's a beautiful world around, because it's connected. Everything is connected. I can paint, but the dancer or the musicians, we are all connected, all connected. I try to show that in my paintings. Yes, after that moment, I design, dress for my students, for some kind of the shows, and I love it. I put the colors, shadows. I remember I make a sketch in my notebook about that. So, and also, my student, they teach me to make a choreography So I learned a lot in that school. They right now they are good bailarin, good dancer, and say, hey, teacher, you show me another way to see the art, because I think bailarines need to know about colors, about shadows, about everything. Everybody can see my paintings about that, because my paintings every time is in move. Every time it's move, I try to show different things, but in the end are connected. I connected, and people can make their own history. They know, their own emotion when see one of my paintings. That is, I think everything is connected. That is the one principal idea in art. Everything art.
Right. Well, now it's interesting because when I asked you about the actual experience, you emphasized dancers and ballerinas and choreography. And now that immediately makes me think of, some of the paintings I was just looking at, where sometimes your imagery there's sort of a construction of textures and color that seem to almost be a form, like a human form inside, but not well defined. And now I think about that is what is part of that from. It's as if you photographed a dancer and they were very blurred by their motion. Now I'm thinking that. Am I right? Is that very off base? That somehow the way those constructions are made is influenced that way?
I think so. I think so. My painting, my style is a mix between figuration, abstract. You
Hmm.
know, and I try to mix. In some painting, you can find something more detailing, something more um, human, but in another paintings, I concentrated more in texture and expression, more deep inside. I work in that two ways in the same idea. You know, so people can see in my paintings, different paintings in different years. People can compare, but in the end, the message is the same. Is spiritual, is going deep inside, is I talking about emotion. So, but yeah, people can see this kind of different style in the same. You know,
Well, I think, and again, when we talk about the language of art and how limiting it is, I have found that there are people who are abstract painters, and there are people who are representational painters, figurative painters, but that a
yes,
lot of times the most exciting work is, as you're describing, both things are happening, and I think that creates a really interesting tension for the viewer that they might not even understand what makes the painting compelling. But I think that gets to the heart of it, is the tension between those different ideas.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah,
I'm also thinking about, that some of when there is a more clearly defined human figure, uh they're not the way you paint the figure, or the way you paint like the surface and texture of the skin. Sometimes you're disrupting that it's not naturalistic, that even though it's
exactly,
a more representational painting uh
exactly, yeah.
than some other things, there's always this way in which you are never naturalistic and always disrupt. Do you think of it that way, that you're disrupting the human body or the skin of the body?
I,
Or
you know, every time that I make a piece in that way, I try to, you know, I try to mix when I paint texture, lights, shadows. I try to mix it. I think it's maybe my way, maybe because how I feel inside, or or I like to put everything that I feeling in my canvas.
Mhm.
Um, in different, in different states. So I tried not to make a piece like I just a representation of nothing or just a beauty canvas. No, I think the beauty is everywhere. I can make a dark painting. I can make a lighting, something more light or drying or something more abstract. But in the end, is how I show my message for the people. Also, I work with the titles. The titles in my paintings are really important because I give the spectator, I give the people an idea how I want to show an idea or something, as emotion in the canvas. But in the end, the people can see what they want to see, and that is important. It's the language. It's the language. I think it's the language of art. That is a really emotional when I show my art for first time. For example, a new show, the day when the people see the new paintings, they are connected and they show me another ideas. So that is the most important enjoy to me. It's a really enjoy.
So the titles are something of a hint,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah,
you also know that the viewer has to bring something
yeah.
to their experience of the painting. That's so
Exactly,
you're starting their journey, but they end it.
exactly. The title word like amplify. It's amplify the idea.
Mm-hmm.
So you start, you start to connect it, some symbols of, some ideas in the canvas, and you try to mix and make your own idea. In the end, that is for me, is the art, the real art. You can show inside you, and the people, when the people get involved in my paintings, that's the really good things.
Well, and you mentioned the paintings are an expression of your emotions, and I don't know if you said it, but it's in your statement, spirituality. Um, and an observation that occurs to me is that your work seems so complex and so developed, yet you speak about how intuitive your approach to your work is. And I think I'm guessing, you can explain it to me if I'm right or not, that it's about that emotion. So talk a little bit in more detail about the emotional and spiritual forces that are coming out into your work.
Um, sometimes I have idea, uh, maybe a symbol or a part of the part of the canvas, and I try to make a small drawing in my sketch notebook.
Mhm.
In that moment, I start to titles come to me, different titles, and I try to write it. I write in the same page, and I try to build the canvas. I try to build what to do, what to show in this canvas. But yeah, in the end, I know every canvas is like a window to another world. It's like people can open that window, can see another dimension, another world, another spiritual things. Everything that people can see right there. In the end, the canvas make their own life. I think I try to explain that many times, but in the end, my paintings talk
Right.
talk. You know, sometimes it's difficult to me. Uh, when some people try to ask me, hey, can you explain me this, or what do you want to express in your canvas, it's difficult to me because I don't want to say, okay, this is what it is. No, I like freedom for freedom, liberty for everybody can, open that window and go out. That is the most important thing to me.
Fair enough. When you finish a painting, do you feel like you have, like, do you feel, has it been cathartic? Do you feel like you have, do you feel better or more relaxed when you finish a painting because you have worked through something?
Oh yes, yes, I feel relaxed, but every painting, uh, send you to another one, the next one. So every time you feeling like I say, oh, I don't finish yet. I don't finish yet. I feeling. So I need a necessity in that moment to make another and another and another and another. So, that's important when you, when I make a solo exhibition, when I see all the pieces together, it's a really enjoy it. I enjoy that moment because I can see what happened in reality, what happened, because I paint for months. So I make it pieces every month, I make it more than 10, 12, 15 new pieces. So when you see all the pieces together in one gallery, I talking about, how I feel. It's like I feeling really relaxed. I feeling, really happy with me, because everything.
Yes. Is your sound back? Yeah. Okay. I think we got that, but your sound didn't go out for just a second. So, do you find when you talk about that experience of you going and seeing everything in the gallery together, are you ever surprised? Does seeing the paintings in that context reveal something to you that was unexpected?
Oh yes, yes, every time. Yes, every time. Yeah, I like I told you, after the show or the date of the opening of the show, after the show is like another history happen when people start to talk to me about how they like any piece, or talking to me about something, the emotion that I put in any of the painting. So after the show, it's like my paintings go alive. So I always say, when people become my art collectors, I say, hey, you take one of my piece, but it's like a window to another world in your world. Every time that you see my pieces, it's not really like I told you before. I don't want people remember me like, okay, it's a beautiful painting. Oh, it's colors, lights. No, it's more than that. It's more like it's a piece of mind. It's a piece of my deep inside. I in that way, I really romantic in my painting process, because people can see that in my paintings. I that is my way to show who I am, uh, what I know, and the way that I want to show something that I have inside, um, like artists. That is the best way.
Sure. I think that romantic quality comes through, but I don't know that many people would necessarily connect that with, surrealism. And I think, again, that gets to what is unique about you and your work. But you also make reference to your process or how productive you are. So let me ask you, in your studio practice, are you only working on one painting at a time? And as you mentioned earlier, and as is common with artists, I think you have a notebook. You're always collecting things and ideas and working through. But in terms of the kind of work that goes into the gallery, the finished paintings, do you work on one painting at a time until you're finished and then go to the next? It sounds like that's what you do. But I know sometimes working with the medium, many artists will have different canvases going at one time that they have to work on differently. But what's it like in your studio practice?
Yeah. No, I really don't work in 2 or 3 pieces at the same time. No, I really start one piece. I concentrate it in in that piece until the end.
Mm.
Uh, because in that maybe that painting, because maybe the size, or maybe the time that I put to paint is no the everyday.
Mhm.
Maybe because I like to wait. Because the process, the oil painting, the process, you need to dry some part of the
Right.
canvas. I like to take my time to finish a piece. But in the end, any piece need to um, take their own time. So maybe I painting a piece, I start a piece, I go out. When I back to my studio, I can see another things. I can see another idea. Say, oh, okay, I take it, I make my sketch, and I, you know, make a preview of my idea, and then I put it in the canvas. But yeah, it's the process. I think it's not the final objective. It's the process. I enjoy the process. How really really important to me to enjoy the process, because in that process I have, for example, I have bad days, I have good days, and everything is put in the canvas. You can see, and I am looking, because some people in the end can see that in my canvas. Can see that the artist is like a book. You open the book, you can see bad things, good things, emotion, spirituality, a lot of things. The artist is we have the we can show that in our way. So I try to show that.
Are either of your sons artists? Is there, are they influenced to be doing that by you,
Uh,
or are they not?
they paint sometimes, but I don't try to push them to get, hey, take the pencil, take the canvas, that is normal. They like music, I like music. All the art, different kind of arts. But sometimes I painting, my studio is in my home. I like to have my studio in my home, because they come in, and I ask them, hey, do you like it? I say, hey, daddy, why you painting this, or why this color, or some kind of meanings. And I try to explain, but I like that they like it. So we are like a family, artistic family right here.
Well, I know I've heard some artists say like, "Oh, my kids are my worst critics," but
Oh
it's
yeah,
they
yeah.
sound they sound supportive though, and in kind
Yes, exactly. Yes, that is the way. It's the same. Sometimes my wife, I paintings, and I rest. I take my glasses out, and I call my wife and say, "What do you think?" Oh, I love it. Do you think it's finished? Maybe yet. It needs something. And I start to thinking what the canvas need to finish. So it's like that I told you. It's the process. It's the process. In the studio is where my studio is where I feeling the right Julio Cesar. The right person. And that is emotional. It's really really emotional.
Well, so you've made it clear that you don't want to explain your paintings necessarily to the viewer, but if you had to tell people, if you had to characterize this body of work that's going into this show, um, what would you want people to know before they come? What is the thing that the perpetual contours? What is the thing you want to say about that?
Okay, this solo exhibition is the number 27 in my career. Solo exhibition 27. So I try in any show, I try to show my feelings in the process, my feelings back in the process. Also, of course, I try to to put how my work can stay in that moment, because I need to be comfortable, to be quiet. I need to like everything that I do. But in this new show, Perpetual Contours, people can see two artists in one.
Mm.
It's like a celebration. I think it's a big celebration because Piet Mondrian is one of the best, most important abstract artists in the art history. So I like it so much. I remember when I was a student, I checked all the books. I studied the abstract, expressionism, surrealism, a lot of tendencies,
Mm-hmm.
and I like it. This, and that teach me to build my own world, my own, universe. But yes, in this exhibition, people can see the how two paintings, two styles can work together. So I enjoy so much because it was a really, really fresh, something that I have um, in my sketch notebook, and I take it, say, okay, I think I can do a series in this this way, and yeah, people will see the show in that way. I really enjoy it. I am really excited because it's new for me. It will be new for people like in special people like follow my art collectors, in the city or around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the show.
All right, terrific, fresh art. Thank you so much, Julio. Today, Julio Cesar, his show "Perpetual Contours" opens at Revelry Gallery August 6th with a reception that evening. If you would be interested, and I never know why somebody would be interested in meeting the artist, but anyway, that's your opportunity to meet the artist, 6 to 9 p.m. Friday, August 6th. So, muchas gracias, Julio. Such a pleasure.
Yeah, muchas gracias a ti.